All right, hey everybody. Welcome to the Church Digital Podcast, episode 333. We've done 333 conversations centered around digital ministry. I think we launched this thing 2018, 2019 maybe. I'd have to really go back and look, but it's been 5 or 6 years, over 300 conversations. It's been a lot of fun over the years doing some of this. If you want to go back, you want to listen to bad audio, go back and listen to like episode 1. The first conversation I ever had was with a guy, Tyler Sansom. I love Tyler. Tyler was actually probably one of the most interviewed people on the show here. Some of the stuff he's doing with Church Anywhere is incredible. Physical churches that really understand digital mission work. Tyler was really a pioneer and just happened to fall into a church that really backed him and ran with it. And so it's really cool to see that. But it was arguably one of the worst interviews I've ever done in the history of time. It's funny, actually, go back and listen. You know, I say ums and ahs and you knows a lot. I'm not a really polished speaker, and so I do use transition words to help my brain kind of catch up with my mouth. Or my mouth catch up with my brain, probably is a better way to say that. And for those first, I don't know, maybe 20 or 30 interviews, like I would like I say like a lot too. I don't know if you caught that, but I would literally like scrape each and ah and like out. I would cut it. I would. It's post work was like hours. The idea of doing a conversation live like this, where people are hearing it in real time, no way I could do that. And you know, it's amazing what 300 plus interviews will do. All of a sudden, people are like, you're really a good interviewer. Like, you really make people feel at home. It's like, I guess that's fine. After doing 300 of them, what is that? 24 hours a day. So that would be 10 plus days. That would be 240. So 25% of 10 would be 12. That's almost 2 weeks worth of talking straight. Nothing about digital mission. I challenge you, listening audience out there, binge the Church Digital Podcast. All 240 episodes for it. If you want more than just audio, I'm pretty sure we've got video for at least 250 of those episodes on YouTube. Go for it. Binge. I challenge you. You don't need that much Jeff Reed in your life. So maybe that's a bad idea. Hey, you know, we got some people hanging out with us on YouTube. Grateful for that. Methos from Ohio says hello. It's been fun. He's been hanging out with us a lot. Whitebeard, Tom McGuire jumps in, came in early. He was he was the first one here, and I started a little late because I was making my coffee. I want to hat tip my coffee mug here. You see this? The little blockhead from Lego. And so I just spilled my coffee all over my table, and I wrote notes on my table, and I spilled coffee on it. So now it's all weird. But at least it's fragrant in the room. Very good. Steve's in there saying hey. Life Capture is saying hey as well. How's it going, man? Always good to see Life Capture. Enjoy that. I can see the ums and ahs in waveform. So I didn't have to listen to it. Yeah, you can do that. Now, listen, AI, man, they do all sorts of stuff. And with the plugins and cut that. Back in the day, like we had to do it manually, and now AI just does all that. You click a button and it mutes everything, and it's technology. I tell you, like I'm really excited. Methos is Phantom Methos, and yeah, definitely, it's good to see you, sir. I tell my kids, like, the stuff that my kids are doing. My daughter's 16, my son's 14, and the stuff that they're doing in engineering and programming and coding, and the abilities they have to do stuff. Like, and we're intentionally training them not to use AI, but at the same time also understanding what AI can do and the power of that. Oh my gosh, this next generation, there's going to be untold capacities of that. And then, of course, someone will weaponize AI, and then it'll all be over. But at least we will enjoy it until that point. You know, it's just know it's going to happen. But until the point that it does happen, rock and roll, baby. Let's go. Yeah, hey, so we got a meeting happening in real time. Simianski is catching up with Phantom Methos, and so fun to see this happening right here in YouTube. Once again, the Church Digital bringing people together, which we did in a big way last week. We did a little thing called the Digital Missionary Conference. I got to tell you, in the grand scheme of what I thought the Digital Missionary Conference was going to be and what had actually happened, it was freaking ridiculous. I am so excited to see what happened on was it April 2nd? Actually, the day we wanted to do the conference, I'll just give you the sneak peek. We wanted to do it. I wanted to do it Tuesday instead of a Wednesday, and so I was looking at April 1st, and I was like, no, I can't. I cannot do a Digital Missionary Conference April 1st. Like there's no way. People will think it's a joke and won't show up. And so, okay, we'll do it April 2nd. That's fine. It was so good. We had, as near as we can tell stat-wise, we had 1,400 people register for the conference. We had over 1,000 active viewers, unique viewers for the conference. It was really interesting. Like people were watching through Altar Live, and we had some problems with Altar Live. We'll maybe get into that a little bit. But when we were doing it in virtual reality, which I loved, and we built a world in spatial VR. VR Tiger built a world exclusive for us, so thankful for that. Methos says I could not attend April 1st, so I'm glad it wasn't. Yeah, definitely, and we would do. Wednesday's a better day for us anyway. Moving forward, I think Wednesday is going to be the rhythm. But it was interesting. We actually had some bootleg conferences happening. It was really I think we screwed up permissions on YouTube, and people were actually watching, not in Altar Live, but they were watching straight on YouTube and engaging with us and commenting on the YouTube feed, which we had wanted to drive all traffic through Altar Live, but they were going straight to YouTube. We even had, and if this was you, I want to know. I'm not upset. I love that this happened. Somebody was doing a bootleg conference in big screen, in virtual reality. They put the feed, the YouTube feed, up on a big screen and created a completely separate conference in virtual reality based on what we were doing in big screen. Seriously, if that was you, I want to know. Yeah, we're talking live capture. Somebody also streamed it to big screen. I want to know who that was. And Stacy saying, I love the bootleg conference. Look, we created something that we could not control. I mean, that's the end game with this. There's so much, and praise God. Can I just say that? There was so much excitement around what we were doing that people wanted to do it in their own way. I literally, you can't see, I have goosebumps right here just talking about this. And if it was, I don't know who Mr. Pete is. If it was Mr. Pete, I would love to get connected with Mr. Pete on Discord, because Mr. Pete is my hero. And by the way, I would love for Mr. Pete to do that next time. The idea of taking the conference into multiple worlds, why not? The idea of championing this in different ways, why not? And so, let's continue. Seriously, if one of you guys could connect me to Mr. Pete, that would be fun. I don't think I've met him along the way, but am very excited to see that the conference expanded beyond their wildest dreams. I would love this. As we're talking in here, I want to ask some questions, because we've got some audience that's active. What was your favorite part of the Digital Missionary Conference? Was it speakers? Was it the groups? Was it the tables? What really stood out to you through the conference? Oh my gosh, Methos is saying here, Mr. Pete, you should definitely know who he is sometimes. He's awesome. 80 plus years old, doing metaverse ministry. Seriously, Methos, now, friend me, we're already friends on Discord. Please make that connection. I want to meet the guy that's 80 years old doing metaverse ministry. I want to bring him on the show. I want to have a conversation. I want to know this guy's story. That's freaking phenomenal. It's been surprising to me over the years. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, please. 80 years old, you definitely need to meet him. I will I will seem young. Yeah. So yes, Tom, I'm no longer the old guy. Let's get the 80-year-old guy on here, man. We all look like babies, pups compared to him. Yeah, this is so funny. Seriously though, what was your favorite moments? Somebody get Mr. Pete on here right now. No, don't do that. I guess you can, but I don't care. What was your favorite moment from the conference? Breakouts, speakers. What was the mic drop moment for you? The oh crap, just got real moment. What was the line? What was the takeaway? What was the action step? I'd love to know. Throw it in chat here and give some insight. For me, there was a couple things that hit the fan. And when I was booking it, I knew when I was scheduling the things out. David Nelms, I said in the conference, David Nelms blew my mind, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago. He said a couple things to me back in like probably 2011. Actually, no, let me get the year right. 2015, maybe 2016. So like 8 or 9 years ago. If your disciple's not making a disciple, are they really a disciple? Like that was a powerful thing. But for me, it was the idea that he said this, like he was reaching, as a lead pastor of a church, he was reaching thousands of people. Like he did the math. It was like his church over multiple years had reached 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people, whatever the number was. And he walked away from that model and started a disciple making, an evangelism model. He shifted the approach away from growth to multiplication. And at the end of 16 years of multiplication, his organization, now the Timothy Initiative, reaches more people in a day than he had done in multiple years of growth ministry. Like they're training 180,000 missionaries this year. Let's stop and let's think about this. Over a 16-year career, he engaged in the idea of multiplication, of investing in people, and then asking them look. Let me tell you, Timothy Initiative at the base level, and they're friends. I can say this, nothing but respect for the Nelms, father and son, and the group that's running TTI. But day one, bring somebody to Christ. Day two, hey, who are the 10 people in your life that need to know this? Let's pray for them. Day 3, hey, how can you share Jesus with those 10 people? What would that look like? And then basically the days to come, the 8 or 9 weeks of the cohort is all centered around multiplying, holding them accountable to reach out. So it's very evangelical and very relational, but a very evangelical relational model. And by investing in that, he went from David Nelms, in the course of 15, 16 years, David Nelms investing in people, to now 180,000 people invested in this year. 100,000 churches planted globally this year. Can you imagine what that would look like? I mean, a confession hour for me. I'm 47 years old. Sure, I'm not as old as Mr. Pete, but I'm up there. The idea that by the time I retire at 65, the Church Digital could be part of a movement that's training 100,000 people to be digital missionaries, utilizing digital and metaverse and virtual and using, it's 15 years from now, all that's going to be stale. It's going to be innovation. What's next? To be at the tip of the spear? Could you imagine what it would be like to be part of an organization that was the tip of the spear innovation and missional purposes? I feel like I got a real taste of that and got to just a vision for what we can be with the Church Digital. And so for me, David Nelms really brought that home in a big way. I'm seeing a lot of feedback coming in, so let me come up here. Steve Reed, it wasn't one thing. It was seeing so many people getting excited about taking this to the next level. I agree with that, Steve. Man, I had thought, it was funny. Barbara and Andy, they'll tell you this. We were talking about the conference, and this is months ago when we pitched it. And I said, you know what, if we can get 200 people to show up for a Digital Missionary Conference, it's a win. And Barbara's like, come on, Jeff, you got to think bigger than that. And I was like, what, 500? Well, 500? Okay, 500. She's like, Jeff, you still got to think bigger. And I was like, are you telling me you think you can get 1,000 people to register for a Digital Missionary Conference? Okay, fine. That's on you. Let's get 1,000 people to do it. We had 1,400 people register. And the fact that we had 1,000 people show up, of that 1,400, the fact that it went bootleg, beyond that, so many people are excited and are curious about this and are looking for it. And I love the fact that we get to be a voice for it. Here, Mythos. Breakouts and tables afterwards were my favorite. Not that the speakers weren't good also. No, I totally get that. The idea of connecting with people relationally. That's actually what I loved about Altar Live. I hated that we had the problems with the platforms as much as we did. But the ability to be relational, to connect. I told you all, this isn't a webinar. This is not where you sit back and consume. This is where you lean in and dialogue. And so many people were excited about that. Hey, we got Simon jumping in from Namibia. I'm blessed. Hey, Simon, thanks for coming on and being a part of that. We've got live capture. I like the quick fire breakouts, even though they were kind of unplanned. Give a good overview on what's going on without taking too much time away from exchanging on the topics. That was like the micro TED Talks thing we did at the end. That was a takeaway from me. I will be trying to work that in again for future conferences. I've never done it like that. You know, I've seen like the full TED Talks where every breakout gets 15 minutes, but the 5 minutes, the machine gun, everybody gets exposure, and then you know who to go talk to in the breakout sessions for more information. That was a takeaway. I think we're going to see something like that in the future. And so, listen, the keynotes were good. For me, like I like learning from the keynotes. I personally engage more in the breakouts and the tables. Like, I love networking. I love connecting. I love relationally talking with people, and the ability to hang out at those tables and to talk and meet people. The highlight for my entire conference. Listen, the keynotes were great. The conversations, the being able to host and dialogue, see 1,000 people were so good. The highlight for me was when I looked at the screen and I was looking at the seats, and I literally saw OJ from MetaChurch, who's the world builder for MetaChurch, sitting next to Pastor D, who's been a digital pastor for a decade plus and has been looking for a virtual reality world builder. And they're sitting next to each other in the aisle, in the auditorium in Altar Live. They can see each other. I don't know if their cameras are on. I don't think they had talked to each other before that. And saying literally in the moment, Pastor D, you're sitting next to OJ. The two of you need to have a conversation, because Pastor D, OJ can solve your problems, and OJ, Pastor D needs your help. You see, that's the ability when we network, when we connect together with some of these things like the conference. It's this idea that we are not alone. And as pioneers and as innovators and as doing something different to reach someone different, there's this ideology that we are alone. We're stuck in this place of isolation because nobody really identifies with us outside of the people that we're working with. And over time, that gets hard. And so to do the conference, to do the communities like we're doing at the Church Digital, we're going to continue to do at the Church Digital, that we are going to continue to push the bar on getting people connected. So what we're doing with the outposts and equipping digital missionaries and everything we're doing is centered on it was funny. I was just talking with Jason Morris. We're working on some things. We're talking about some things at the equipping level. I don't want to get too deep into it right now, but one of Jason's pain points, he's very passionate about this, is all of our equipping all of our learning, it needs to be done in community. Like right now, there's a pain point within the Church Digital, really centered around the idea of even having teaching like on demand, where we would have trainings that are available to binge on demand in isolation. Because in isolation training, that really leans more towards consuming, not towards execution. What we're actually seeing is that for execution to happen, it's not training in isolation, but it's training in community. And so even creating a community centered around the conference like we did, which feeds into the communities of Facebook and WhatsApp for the Church Digital, that's the goal, is to try to move everybody from the community of the conference into, that's why we pushed EDM so much. It's deeper down. Maybe we should have pushed TCD and WhatsApp more. That's on me. There's some other things I would probably structure differently overall. But like, I love the fact that we're educating in these communities, we're training in these communities, and we're holding accountable in the communities. If you're going through the training, we want you to see the training be executed. So how is that working? Why is it not working? And what do we need to do to help you do it better? Here I've got Steve's coming in. I was surprised that even though it was digital, some people felt they needed to sit in the back. Yeah. Confession hour with the Church Digital, Steve. I haven't showered this morning, and so slept in, which was nice. I had an early meeting, so jumped out of bed, threw on t-shirt and a jeans, and so I myself haven't even showered today. I'm going out with a date with my wife tonight, and so I'll be completely online until about date time about 6 p.m. Figured I might as well shower for my wife, because I don't want to stink too bad, but I can relate to that. But the backseat Baptist, even in Altar Live, I was so proud. I was so proud of the number of people that leaned into those conversations, that sat in there. The more that you're known is the more that you're loved. And the fact that, sure, we did have spectators on the outside, but the culture of the event was to lean in. So many people leaned in. They sat in those seats. They had those conversations. They hung out at the tables. When the platform broke like it did, there was there was urgency. I got to be in that breakout room right now. Why is this platform not working? It was beautiful. Yeah, okay, Tom. I always sit in the back, even at the conference. I've been a tech too long. Yeah, I get that, Tom. But in Altar Live, you don't have to sit in the back. Like you can be a tech and sit in the front row too. That's okay. Tom, I just want to make sure you're alive, man. You may not be the old guy, but you're the closest guy that's on the fringe. So it's good to even see you here on the stream today, my friend. Cool. What do I want to talk about? What's next? Okay. So here's what we're doing. We announced a Digital Missionary Conference, the second one. And so we're going to do a Digital Missionary Conference again on Wednesday, October 8th. Right now, if you go to missionary.digital, www.missionary.digital, you can pre-register. And we've had 65, 75 people pre-register for this upcoming Digital Missionary Conference. Conference is going to be free once again. And so we're going to do something in that space. I say something. Here's what I want to know. If you're watching right now, what are we doing? So I'm kicking around some ideas. This conference did not, what we just did, like I said, at the last minute, I came up with this idea of the new wineskin. It was kind of an intro idea, but it was a very general, broad conference. I would love to know, but yeah, Steve's already registered for the conference and excited about that. Like I said, 65 or 75 already have. But here's what I want to know. Do I need to pick a theme? Do you like the conferences being broad? Or do I narrow down and do we pick on a theme for the conference overall? Like, I don't know, mental health or prayer or evangelism or discipleship. Like, is there a necessity to fine tune on a theme? And if you think that is, what is a theme you would want to see? Or, should we keep it broad kind of with that? Would love some feedback. Put it in chat. Let me know. This is something that I've been wrestling with. I love the idea of themes, and think they're important to it, but dedicating an entire conference to something like that, I'm not sure. To be honest, I've even kicked around the ideas, and Barbara, like I told her this today, and she had the look of, I don't know if I don't know how I feel about this, but the idea of even doing like micro conferences that are like more finely tuned on different topics and different themes overall. And so that's interesting. We've got some feedback here. Let's kind of work through this. Methos, I love what's coming in. Depends. Is there going to be a third and a fourth conference? Okay. Yes. The Church Digital will commit to doing 2 conferences a year for the foreseeable future. One, I love the ministry that happened. 2, I'll just be honest. We, with the sponsors that are there, we were able to fund the organization for probably 5 months. And so from an operational standpoint, it's a win on multiple fronts. And so we will be doing more of the conferences in the days to come. One of the challenges that we ran into was, so we were talking like, okay, here in America, I just produced a conference where I put the majority of people were Americans, and it was a conference on an American time zone. And one of the biggest problems we had was the time zone issue. And it was also a bunch of people who look like me were on camera doing this. And to be honest, I don't want to produce a conference with a bunch of people who look like me. Contextualization being what it is. And so, like, I would love to empower Simon to do a digital missions conference that's reaching Europeans. I would love to do a conference with Yatope, with Ebby, with Josh, with the different regions that we're really reaching into and building relationships with, and starting to do digital missionary conferences within those regions that are more contextualized for the people that are there. And so we're already narrowing down a little bit in the vision, because I don't think it's always going to be one conference. Just my opinion. And this is, we're getting into the uncut, the raw Jeff Reed in this. This is not official. This is like half-baked ideas in my head. I want to do the mega conference once a year with the Church Digital. And so, like, what we did with the Digital Missionary Conference last week, I would love to do that every spring till Jesus comes back. I think that's a great idea. What I'm kicking around the idea in the fall is doing more regional takes, where we help Simon produce a conference in Europe, and some of the outpost leaders, we equip them and start doing some of these regional conferences that may or may not be based on October 8th. It may not be aligned globally, but because I don't think we'll ever be able to get everybody to agree on a date globally, but we can resource them and help them do some things in their regions, even branding or not branding. It doesn't matter to me. I just want the ideas to get out there. The flip side of that, though, is that we will produce some conference at some level. That's where I'm like, is it going to be open or not? I don't know. Life Capture is saying keep it open. Steve Reed actually has a great idea, reinforcing bless, begin with prayer, listen, shared experiences, serve, and share your Jesus story there, with the key to how to listen digitally. If there's one of the things that I would redo on the keynotes, El Michelle did a incredible presentation on active listening in digital space, in virtual reality. The next conference, I'm going to ask her to do that at the global level, because it really was a phenomenal conference. It was a phenomenal thing that needs to get revisited. Simon is saying mobilizing the church. Yeah, I mean, mobilization is the area that we are stuck's not the right word. It's the area that needs the most attention for us. Simon, you may be relatively new with us, which is awesome. Our framework is connect, community, equip, mobilize. We want to connect with people digitally, and with our digital influence, we want to invite these people into a community. digital community, WhatsApp, Discord, things like that, Facebook groups, because we see digital evangelism, digital discipleship happening best at the community level because of the relational equity that's happening there. And with that relationship, once they find Jesus, we want to help them find their calling and equip them to do what God's calling them to do, and then mobilize them and send them out. And so organizationally, Confession Hour, we've done a really good job of connect, community, equip. We've done a really good job of connecting community. We're just now, within the past 3 or 4 months, really getting into equipping. And now that we're getting some of our digital missionaries out of equipping digital missionaries and building out more resources at the equipping level, you're going to find in the next 6 months, we're really going to be more focused on mobilization. And so mobilization may not be the theme for fall 25. I could see it really being the theme of 26 if we did. If there's a series, then you can have a narrow theme. It makes sense. That's what I'm wrestling with. It's interesting because I want a narrow. I want to make everybody happy, but I also know that if I try to make everybody happy, I don't make anybody happy. And if I make somebody happy, then I make a lot of them happy. And so I'm really kind of bifurcated right now. I do this. Like this is my mind space where I want to make everybody happy, but I know if I make everybody happy, I'm not going to make anybody happy. And I constantly just fight with myself on how to do that. You can make a poll on Discord or WhatsApp and ask people what to have a special topic. Yeah, I mean, that's it. This is really a lot of that for right now is I'm digging in and starting to talk with people and listen. I'm a listener. I like to hear what people are saying, and so yeah, if you're watching the stream, I've said this time and time again. If you're watching the stream live, you are getting the unfiltered, the raw Jeff Reed. If you're listening to this on demand, I mean, you can hit me up on WhatsApp and Discord and share your opinion. That's nice. But if I click on like show, add the broadcast on my screen and the chat comes up, like this is where it really is influencing me at a high level. Stacy, yes, we all need to learn. Yeah, El Michelle's equipping was incredible. That was when I scheduled her for virtual reality because I needed to fill the slot and took her out of where I was thinking on the digital broadcast. There were 2 regrets I have for the conference overall, and that was one of the 2. That was like, I hate that I have to, and I told her that. I was like, I hate that I have to do this, but I need you to do this. The other thing, if you're curious, was, and people have told me, conference was way too packed. Way the crap too packed. There was no breathing point. I started off producing a 4-hour conference that ended up being a 5-hour conference that ended up being a 6-hour conference that ended up being a 7-hour conference. And but I built it on the framework of a 4-hour conference, and it just kept growing and growing and growing. And I probably should have restructured it at some point. So hey, we got Steve. Don't need about worrying them here. Go ye digital. The Great Commission in a connected world. The Great Commission in a connected world. Yeah, we've done the Great Commission, but digital. Like that's a theme that I think I was the guy who said that. I don't think I stole that from anybody, but that's been a theme that we've used a lot. Steve, light in the feed, sharing Christ in digital space. Man, Steve's like really throwing him down here. Click, share, disciple. From Wi-Fi to worldwide, spreading the gospel without borders. That's good. Yeah, Methos is saying it right here. 3 days in 1 day is packed. And if I do another, I told my team today, if I do another 7-hour conference, if I'm in a place where I'm doing a 7-hour conference, I will make it an 8-hour conference, which I will then make 2-day 4-hour conferences. I would break it up into 2 days and do a Wednesday and Thursday. That was another miss, and that just became, as this thing grew and grew and grew, it exploded, which to me is so exciting. Like I didn't walk away feeling, oh my gosh, I had to twist the arm of these people to speak. Oh my gosh, all these breakout people. Like they didn't want to be there. They were doing me a favor. Like nobody in the past, I had to do that. In the past, it was like, hey, come speak at this and do me a favor. people see what's happening. They are getting outside of us. They're getting a glimpse of it, and they want to support. They want to be a part. They want to understand. They want to help you doing what you're doing. Like the one guy, I don't know that I've told who the one guy is. There was one guy I really wanted to speak, and because of scheduling timing, it was a late ask, and it just we couldn't get the schedule worked out. But he was legitimately upset that he could not speak at this conference. He's not a digital guy. He's a pastor. He's well known. I want to save the bullet. I'll probably do him for the next conference because it'll fit in. He'll fit into what we're doing in the future. But this is the larger point is that people want to support what we're doing digitally. That to me is the big takeaway. Is we're not alone. There are different ecosystems. There are different people. There are that want to partner with us, that want to work with us. I just had a meeting with a guy, somebody from theChurch.digital, like an hour ago, where it's pretty much like, hey, I almost want to bring you on as a partner development guy, because we've got a ton of people that want to partner with us, that want to share resources and knowledge base. I need somebody to like be accountable to help us process it and work through that. And so we're like, I've got not spilled with coffee, but I got a bunch of names written on my white desk right here of people that want to take the next step, partners that want to dive in and resource our missionaries at a higher level. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. Like I'm getting a glimpse of what the future looks like at the equipping and even at the mobilization level. And God willing, man, we're at the verge of something really, really great for you all. And so, hey, I'm committing to 3 days. That's been up there a long time. It wasn't just the length, but the number of things within it. Yeah. It was packed in. The ability to, Steve says, time to share, time to digest, time to breathe. We didn't get it. That's a fair assessment. And I'm taking that. I did not. I'm trying to think. So I've produced physical conferences. The physical conferences that I've produced, I doing what we did at that speed. You'd have walk time, you'd have lunch time, and things like that. Physical, I think I've done full day conferences. Digitally, that may have been the longest conference I've ever produced. It was much longer. Because like I said, it just kept growing. More and more sponsors wanted to come in, more and more breakouts were needed. I kept asking speakers, and honest to God, it was a 4-hour conference that just kept growing and growing. And I lost control. I with grace when I say this, I'm actually glad I lost control. I mean, from a control freak that I am, I love the fact that this thing evolved on its own. I think that God moves when we lose control. I guess God can work through us, but God can also move through some of the recklessness that's in place. And so you know what? And actually, Stacy, in the planning, our enthusiasm snowballed, which yielded rich content squeezed in the short amount of time. I mean, that's my point. And so love that. Ian's LOL. Awesome. Ian, I'm not used to that account for you, but good deal. I'm assuming that's you. All right. Sipping away at my Diet Coke. What time is it? Oh man, it's been a good stream. I lost track of time, hanging out with you all. It's really time to share, time to digest, time to learn, time to digest. It's taking it from ideation, processing it, and applying it. So you're learning new concepts, you're processing it, and you're applying. that's some of what we probably need to build in more. The table, Altar Live, I mean, I love Altar Live. If we could get Altar Live to function, be a little more stable, I think it's a great environment. If not, we need to figure out. We love the auditorium, love the tables. We overstretched some of the server stuff for the breakouts. That was where the obvious problem was. But the idea of using the tables to apply that, to process what we're talking about, to sit at a table, maybe even have a one-on-one conversation with somebody, invite your team to come in together, to sit at a conference table together, or to sit down with a partner and have a long conversation. Like, the underutilized asset was the tables. Some of the feedback that I've gotten was the best part of the show, the best part of the conference was actually hanging out at the tables as people were leaving and just having the one-on-one, the free conversations throughout the entire thing. And so we will definitely lean into more of that in the future. Some other feedback coming in. If it was a blunder, it was a magnificent 1,400,000 in attendance, 85 countries, hundreds, if not 1,000 left. Extremely excited and pumped. God did move. Yeah. There are worse things that can happen in life than getting 1,000 people to log on and learn how to be a missional using digital and virtual technology. And it was V1. I've always, if you learn, it's built in, and Stacy can tell you, it's built into our culture. V1 is, version 1's better than version none. I'm stealing that from, who says version 1's better than version none? The guy that's the podcaster, Gary V. Version 1's better than version none. Get out there and do something. If you succeed, you succeed. If you fail, you learn what not to do next time, and try again. Ideation is and what we're doing digitally. It's so important. Experiment, try, fail. Fail is not stop. Fail is learn, and iterate and try again. And so we definitely succeeded. It was a huge success. So excited about what happened. Definitely learning opportunities. If anything, I wish we would have done a conference. We had talked about doing a conference through the Church Digital in fall of 24. And I kiboshed it. I killed it. We had just transitioned to digital missions, like August of maybe July. August, we announced it publicly. In September, Jason and I invested a ton in energy into Lausanne, and the team invested a ton of it. And we really, as an organization, we really didn't know what Digital Missionaries was. Like we were just starting to define it and meet and engage with people. And so on our goals, we wanted to do one conference in 24. But because of the transition, I was like, no, let's not. Let's pause. It's not time. In hindsight, maybe that experiment would have been worthwhile. But what we did and where I feel like the doors are opening for us in the future, organizationally, is very exciting. And I tell you, one of the other wins for me, I'd put this top 5, was the fact that we had so many people volunteering. Like, I mean, I sent an email maybe a couple days out. It was like, hey, we're looking for volunteers to help with tech support, to help with running the prayer table, and to help with capturing video. What, if you've got anything, if you're interested, reach out. Maybe 15 people probably in total came in and served at some level. It was interesting. Like some of our leadership had no idea that was happening till day of, and it was like, oh my gosh, like all you got all these people. Yeah, I mean, I just asked, and they said they were interested. And to me, actually, one of the board members who was involved, one of the board members of the Church Digital, reached out, and he's like, it's him. He's like, that's the most exciting thing for me about the conference, because now you've got people that you're not paying that are buying into and owning the strategy, and they're investing themselves into it, into making something like this happen. That was a big deal, getting people to give of their time. And a lot of people volunteered to lead breakouts. A lot of people dealt with tech issues. A lot of people like it just invested of themselves and shared themselves through the conference, and seeing that ownership of the vision of the Church Digital, and the idea of helping digital missionaries across 85 countries. Like that was a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. Selfishly, I would love to hit 100 countries. I can't believe we hit 85. I don't know. Somebody like I've been internally asking myself, is there a goal for the next conference? I don't know yet. We've got to figure out, I think, the model. Is it going to be targeted and focused, or is it going to be broad? How many regional conferences are we going to do? I think we're still a little undefined yet to really say a number we're aiming for. But I would say that we as an organization, we're not, there's no downtime on conferences. We're like literally this morning, I'm already leaning into, the next one and starting to strategize and talk about where we're going with the conferences. And so no rest for the weary. October day 8th is looming. I probably need to set up a countdown on one of my monitors here, just counting down to the day and the projected time. But we want to see more of these conferences in digital and virtual space. And I tell you, like I've had through this conference and other relationships, like I've had very influential people from multiple denominations, large denominations, that want to be a part of what we're doing in the future. Like it will be very interesting to see if we can partner with some of these organizations. I don't want to get too much into it because it's still kind of fluid. We're not alone. And if there's one thing that I want to champion, maybe that's the theme of the next one, is we're not alone in this. There are more people that are digital missionaries that are out there in this space, that are experimenting, that are trying, and this is an opportunity for us to validate what they're doing and to reach out and start to extend community in different ways. Methos is asking, are there 100 English-speaking countries? Yeah, there are. English is a primary language across the board. That being said, I'm actually very much one of the reasons I want to do regional conferences is I don't want this to be the face of the guy that's doing a digital missionary conference in South America. I would rather, and I've said this publicly, I would rather equip somebody else to do that. Like, the digital missionary conference in Europe that we want to do in the fall, it's not going to be English speaking, like German, French, Spanish. I'll let Simon figure that out. But I definitely want to get to the place where we're contextualizing this out globally. And that even means I may not be the face. There needs to be somebody else. If we're going to do a conference for Gen Z on this, probably not going to be me. But I want to help get somebody else that can speak that language out there. Same Gen A, etc. Like English is a lid. English is a connector, but at some point it's a lid. And so we need to get beyond English. We need to get beyond ourselves and start to platform at a global level, regardless of the context. And yes, you can create an AI version of me speaking Portuguese, and it is excellent. My Korean, my Mandarin Chinese has faked out via AI. Hey, Jen, my Mandarin Chinese has faked out one of my really good friends who is Mandarin Chinese. And so, like, it is possible to do it. In my opinion, just because you can doesn't mean you should. And instead of being the English guy that's talking about American digital ministry, I'd rather find people, Mandarin China is a hard example, but I'd rather find people that can speak of digital in their context. And so I would rather grow and train relationships and help them contextualize it and then figure out how to communicate it. Yeah. There's no language barrier between young and seniors, at least mostly. That's because Steve says I'll host the ones for senior citizens, I guess, unless you can get Mr. Pete. I know I can appreciate that, and I appreciate that too. But there's not a language barrier, but I think there's a contextualization barrier when it comes to platforms. Oh, it's interesting. There's some good metaverse church stuff happening in Brazil. Methos, who? I'd love a connection there. I've got a one of the people we're bringing on the board of the Church Digital is very connected in Portuguese in Latin, in the Portuguese side of Latin and South America, and so looking to expand some relationships over there. But I would, on my side, I'm looking to partner with anybody, everybody. I want to learn what people are doing. My mission in life, and everybody that's watching this hopefully knows this. I want to discover where the issues are and how to solve them. A, for the people that are stuck, and then B, so that the future generations don't get stuck there. And I want to start to provide training and resources that can help streamline and help digital missionaries be more effective, so they don't even have the issues of getting stuck. And so I want to be the gasoline that gets poured on the flame, the spark that the Holy Spirit has given many of you, and what God has called you to do, which is a fun place to be for me. But it is challenging as well. But I love what I'm doing. I love the fact that many of you are bought in and excited about the Church Digital and the Digital Missionary Conference and what's ahead. I would say this: if you're interested in more information on the Digital Missionary Conference, including the October 8th registration, go ahead and hang out. You can go over to the website that's on the screen over here. Hey, I did my finger the right direction. Kinda, sorta. How do I? That's weird. I can't. There it is. www.missionary.digital. www.missionary.digital. Well, hey, this has been the wrap up for the conference. Thank you for the conference. We took a week off. We were doing a season through the Church Digital podcast, talking about questions. We're going to get back into that with questions, some of the questions and issues that digital missionaries are getting stuck with. I have no idea who we're going to bring on next week, because I have no idea who we're bringing on next week. So we'll have a guest on, diving back into the topic of that. We'll have probably a couple others that we're going to get into. We've already started talking about what's next for the show with the stream here. Looking forward to the future seasons, but we're gonna wrap up some of the questions here and move forward. There's a couple people I want to highlight. Greg, coming on from France, my friend. Hi, Greg. Bye, Greg. Greg, appreciate you. Thanks for, hey, Greg served during the conference, so appreciate what you did, handling some of the tech with that. And Simon's talking to me about some of the stuff, Greg, he's thinking about with you. So excited to see how things develop on that side, France and beyond. But hey, I've got to go because I got to meet a really cool guy that I've never had a conversation with before. And I'm excited about what this one could open up. I'm excited about a lot of stuff, but always excited here. But I got to land the plane because I got to be in a Google chat room in about 4 minutes. And so for Jeff with the Church Digital, this is Jeff with the Church Digital talking about himself in third person today. That's awesome. Thanks for hanging out with us today here on the stream, and we'll see you next time on the show. Y'all have a good one. Bye.